All right, you guys, good morning. This is Miss Gutkin, and we're gonna do some art today. So I have a challenge for you. Can you make objects float like a magician? And the answer, as you can see, is yes. Through the magic of art, you can. I'm gonna show you guys how today. So, first thing, we gotta get all of our supplies. You're gonna need a piece of regular paper, like from your printer. You're gonna want a pencil, an eraser for just in case. A ruler is gonna come in handy at the end. Some scissors, and then either a black crayon or a black marker of some kind so that you can trace the outline. You're also gonna want some kind of coloring supplies, so whether that's markers, crayons, watercolors, that's up to you. Be creative, go for it. So, first thing, I'm gonna trace my circle. Now, I know it looks like our circle is floating at the top of our page, but really, we're gonna wanna put it in the middle, and I'm gonna use something to trace. So I forgot to mention that. If you would like to trace your circle instead of freehanding it, you are more than welcome to do that. Why make things harder for yourself? Okay, once I have my circle, I'm gonna take my outlining tool, and if you feel confident enough to just outline it without needing to use the pencil first, why not? Go for it. I like to practice first though. Okay, I have my circle. Now I'm gonna turn it into a sphere using the magic of shading. So we have done this before. You guys should recognize this. And look at here, when we look at our sphere, we can see that wherever the light is at the top, or anywhere around it, wherever the light is our lightest part of our sphere. And the bottom, farthest away from the light, is our darkest part of our sphere. That's where our shadows are. Our shading is darkest here. So that's what we're gonna recreate. And for us, our shadows are gonna go down at the bottom. So I'm gonna start down here by adding a nice dark layer, and then using my outlining tool, I'm gonna slowly start going up in my curved lines because we want it to look round, right? We use curved lines so that it looks round. I'm gonna slowly start adding my hatch lines, and it's gonna get lighter and lighter. I'm gonna put less and less lines, so you're gonna start to see more white space as I move up because I'm using less shading. And I'm just gonna go back here at the bottom, add a little bit more. I'm pretty happy with this. If you are still working on yours, feel free to pause this video, right? It's the magic of YouTube. But yeah, I am pretty happy with that. So I'm gonna move on. If you need to pause, do it. The next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna color my sphere. Now I'm just gonna make it a simple pink ball, but if you wanted to turn it into a basketball, you know, you could add more details to it. If you wanted to make something really complex, right, then you could add your designs and your details before you added your hatch lines. But for right now, as we do it this first time, we're just gonna do it all together with our hatch lines first, and then we're gonna color. And because we did our hatch lines first, and that's working as our shading, we do not need to focus so much, don't worry about that. We do not need to focus so much on changing or adding shading with our color, which is how we did it this first time, right? We pushed down harder to make it darker. But because we used our black outlining tool, we don't need to do that right now. It's already done. And there you go. There's my pink ball. Next, I'm gonna take my pencil again, and right below where my ball is, I'm gonna start adding some shading. And what you could see is I want it, the larger this space is, the higher it looks like your ball is jumping or bouncing or floating or whatever you want it to be. So I'm going to take that and then I'm going to just smudge it a little bit so it looks nice and smooth like a real shadow would. I'm just adding a little bit more darkness in the middle. And there you go. You have your very own bouncing object. If you want to go a little bit further, you can take your ruler and I'm going to go straight across so that it looks like this line that I'm going to draw is behind the ball because I'm not going to put the line through my object. Once I have that done, I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut around the object and along that line. So let me do that real quick. If you did this with watercolor, you're going to want to wait because if it's wet, your object is wet, it's going to be a little bit too delicate to cut. You can totally do it. You just want to wait. There you have it. There is your floating object. Now, using this skill, you can make lots of different objects float. Right? So I have here a Rubik's Cube that I made float using my knowledge of cubes. Okay? I made my Rubik's Cube float. You could take a soda can and make it float, right? You can pause this if you want the basic idea for how these shapes should look. You can make all kinds of things float. When you're ready, I have a challenge. I want you to take your knowledge of these shapes, of the shading here that we've done, and I want you to make something new float. For example, as my part of the challenge, I made my house float. So that's mine. When you have done your challenge and you've made all sorts of things float, if someone can make a rabbit float, I will be very, very impressed. When you've done that, I want you to take a picture and post it somewhere in your Google Classroom so that your teacher and I can see all of the amazing things that you are creating. I want to see your art projects. All right, I miss you guys. I will see you soon. Have a great day.